Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I'm very excited to be reviewing Citadel of the Autarch. This is the omnibus 2-volume edition that has book 3 included. And this is by Wolfe. So if you don't know Wolfe, he is the master of prose. It's kind of what I'm deciding for him, for me to call him, because the prose in this series is without a doubt the best that I have ever read. And I absolutely loved this book. Obviously, there are going to be spoilers in this, so you haven't read the book, don't watch it. But this book, like, I was thinking about it before hitting record, but book 2, I think, is still my favorite of the 4 books, but I think book 4 is the one that, on reread, is going to be, I think, my favorite, because the first half is all, I wouldn't say all, but it's very complicated and it's very much like setting up the pieces so Severian can become the Autarch, which was hinted at in the very first chapter of book 1. And I was really curious how he was going to become the Autarch. I kept thinking about it. I was like, is he going to kill the Autarch? Is he going to, like, be given this power from the Autarch? Like, what's going on with that? And it ended up that the Autarch himself is basically, like, the position itself is supposed to be, like, not really supposed to, but it's a position that has had many people over and over and over again. And every time that a new person is chosen for Autarch because the previous one died or something else, they would basically do what they did with Thekla and absorb the memories of all of those Autarchs. So the Autarch that we meet in this book, he already has hundreds of consciousnesses in his, like, soul or, like, his brain, I guess. And it is so fascinating. Like, I know I just jumped straight into the end, but, like, the ending of this book, like, feels so awesome. Like, I feel like everything has been building up to the end of this book. And for some reason, I thought the end of the books would be Severian, like, kickstarting the new sun. Because that's what the entire series is seeming to be about. And that wasn't it. That was not the ending. The ending is Severian becoming the Autarch. And then him going down into the Atrium of Time, meeting the old woman down there, and her saying, "Come on in, Autarch," and he's like, "Okay, time to reset the new sun." And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I want to read book 5 right now. Like, I absolutely love this book. Like, I loved all of the Askian battle sequences that we got, all the tech that we saw. I really loved the description about the giant fortress, or the wagon as big as a fortress that's just moving along the land, slowly going onto the battlefield. And I love all the creatures that we saw during these battles. Like, they were really, really unique. Some of them I still cannot imagine in my head, but hopefully there's fan art somewhere out there for me to look for. But, oh my gosh, like, there was a point in the story where Severian is kidnapped and taken hostage by Vodalis, Agia, and a few other people from that organization. I guess the Volatari. And, like, that was such a fun section, because Severian has been thinking about all these people, all these books, and he hasn't seen them in a while. He's seen Vodalis every now and then, but Vodalis is always busy with something. And so Severian never really had a moment to just, like, talk with these people. And that was such a fascinating, like, section for me. And then going from there to him meeting the Autarch, and the Autarch coming down in this spaceship that, like, is small, but, like, it's very fast. And he goes in between the planets and the solar system and all this stuff. And that was just so cool. Like, I know I'm going all over the place in terms of the story, but, like, it is, like, there's so much in this book. that I really, really enjoyed. I think the second half of this book I liked the most. I think that was my favorite, like, I guess, half of any of these books was the second half of this book. Because, like, everything builds to, like, the halfway point or so, in my opinion. And then from there, it's just constant, like, just full foot on the gas, just going. And I love that. This is definitely a top 3 series for me. I think Severian as a character is one of the most fascinating in literature. I think he's as fascinating as the Fool from Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. They are both pretty similar characters, I feel like, in terms of complexity, I guess aura. That's another factor because both of them are so different than what I've read. Like, the Fool obviously is, without spoilers, he is just, or they, I don't know how you want to describe them, but the Fool has so many facets to their life. And Severian also. But Severian was brought up in, like, super future Earth, and it is such a fascinating character to, like, think about, because, like, one of the major moments in this book is Severian realizing when he finds this bush of claws, and there's tons of claws standing there, or hanging from leaves and all this stuff, and he plucks one, and he's like, yeah, I don't really see the light, but maybe these powers are coming from me reviving all these people. And I have no idea what that's like. What does that mean? What caused him to do that? But, like, this, like, the entire time he thought the Claw was reviving all these people, and the man-ape that he meets after, I think it's Argia almost kills him. And then he goes, sorry, my phone just buzzed in my pocket and I got distracted. But, so Severian, like, fuck, I lost my train of thought. Severian. Fuck. Yeah, so he finds the claws, and he realizes that he has been the one reviving all these people. And I don't know what that means for the story. I assume we'll get a lot more detail about that in Book 5, Urth of the New Sun, which I've heard is very complicated, but it does provide answers galore. And I'm very much looking forward to that. But, like, that was one of the biggest moments that I didn't even recognize, because one of my friends, who I've mentioned a few times on the channel, he's read the entire 4-book series. He hasn't read Book 5, but he was asking me about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I did remember that scene, but I did not connect the dots that, like, it was Severian himself who was reviving people. Because I remember him thinking about it, but it just didn't process for me until my friend and I were talking about it. And that was, like, that is such a major moment for me, because I just want to reread it now. Because I don't know, like, I need to really pay attention now to those descriptions when he's reviving everybody, because it was always because of the Claw, is what we thought. And it's not the Claw, it's Severian himself. And what does he have differently than everybody else that allows him to become, or to revive people? And I have no idea. Like, that is, I hope we get answers about that. But, I also want to mention that we met the Green Man again. He shows up in this book, and I was so happy. I wasn't as happy to find out that he never went back to his planet, but instead was just like, oh no, I gotta hunt down Severian. Not hunt him down, but I need to track him down so I can tell him what the future brings, because it's not good. And I don't know what else is going to happen with the Green Man. Jonas doesn't come back. Well, we kind of get Jonas, but he's like really early Jonas, like in the beginning of his journey, because we hear about him joining the Askian war effort, like in book 1, I believe, or he talks about being part of it. But he's like, yeah, I'm from the future. I was looking for you, Severian. And I really hope we get more Jonas next book, because I loved Jonas. I thought he was such a fascinating character. He was such like a different, like, I feel like he brought levity to the book. I don't know. It made the book easier to read when he was on the page. I don't know. And then we also get uh, what's his name? Dr. Talos. He's hanging around, and we get some conversations with Father Anire, which was a lot of fun. Anire, however you pronounce that. Like, oh, and even the conversation Severian has with Master Palamon. Like, that was so much fun. They go back through the House Absolute, and Severian revisits the cell that Thekla was in. He sees the torture device that they used on her, which she thinks, because they're both the same consciousness at this point of the story. Thekla thinks to herself, oh, that's the revolutionary that I was tortured with. And I thought that was such a fun touch, having the name be called that, because, at least for me, there's a lot of implications about, like, where this torture device came from. Maybe it's a joke name, like, oh yeah, we use this on revolutionaries, so we're revolutionizing. I don't know, but I thought that was such a fascinating, like, trip, going back through the House Absolute, because the first time we go through it, Severian's an apprentice. And then in book 4, when he's going back through it, he's now the Autarch. And he has all these hundreds of consciousnesses in his body, I guess. And he talks about how he doesn't even have time to think through the consciousnesses to get all the information that they have. Because he has he just does not have time to go through that. And the Autarch tells him, he's like, yeah, you know how to redo the new sun. All you have to do is go into the pit of black, I think they call it. Basically a black hole in space. And when you go through that, you spit out through the fountain of light, which is the other half of the black hole, which is kind of like the yin and yang, what's it called? I guess I'll call it the Aes Sedai symbol. It's the black and white within, within the black is the white, and within the white there's black, and like all this stuff. And like that was so much fun to like get all of that. And I don't know, like I cannot wait to reread book 1, because I had no idea that Dr. Malrubius and Triskel were actually holograms the entire time, because Severian keeps seeing them throughout his adventures, and we finally get Master Malrubius coming in. He's like, yeah, I'm not the real Master Malrubius, but I'm basically him. We have this technology that allows us to create holograms of ourselves, and they'll just wander the earth, like, forever. And, like, that's it. Like, that's what we're going to do. And Triskel is there, and he runs off to the north. And Severian hops on a ship and goes to, like, an ancient civilization, but not much happens there. That's chapter I did not understand fully. But on reread, I think I will. And then after that, he becomes Autarch, as he runs into the Autarch, and the Autarch gives him all of the information he needed. And I just loved all of the lore behind, the Black Pits and the Fountain of Light and all of that, because I didn't think that black holes were going to factor into the series and be such an important, I guess, mechanism to bringing back the new sun. And I love that. I just love that idea. I love that concept. It is such a fascinating concept. Like, this is, like, Book of the New Sun feels like an archaic, like, antique version of, like, three-body problem, but even more, like, insane. It's so great. I love Book of the New Sun. There's so much more I could talk about, but I think I have the main points down. I am very much looking forward to reading book 5. The rating for this book, I guess I'd give it like a 9.5 out of 10. It's the lowest I'll go because, God, this book just hit really, really well. I loved it. I want to reread it again, but I need to read book 5 and read book the Long Sun, I believe, is first. Or maybe it's book the Short Sun is first. And then book the Long Sun. But before I read book 5, I will be reading The Cat and the Map, which is short stories that Gene Wolfe has written within the world. A book of the New Sun that takes place after book 4, but before book 5, is what I understand. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about these books. I love these books. I just want to talk about them forever. So, thank you all so much for watching, and please have a great rest of the day.